Although our next guests have decidedly different opinions about the harms and benefits of smartphones and social media, they share the distinction of being inadvertent internet celebrities and agree that, like it or not, technology is here to stay. Frustrated by how antisocial her world was becoming as a result of so-called social media, Charlene deGuzman made the short film I Forgot My Phone. It garnered over 42 million YouTube hits and opened up a worldwide discussion about living in the moment instead of living to post on social media platforms. Tara Tiger Brown happily received her marriage proposal via Twitter. Years later, she watched as photos and video of her son, Rips, went viral as well. Despite her unwitting fame and some harsh criticism, Brown still believes that the benefits of social media outweigh the bad. Here live and in person, there they are. Welcome, Charlene and Tara. Thanks so much for coming in. Now, why don't I start with you? Because I think anytime somebody sets out to make like a video or a film, they don't think, well, next thing you know, 42 million people are going to be watching this. But tell me what inspired you to make the film, and then we can talk about the reaction after.
Okay. Well, I was at a concert, and I couldn't believe how many people around me had their phones up the entire concert, filming the concert, and all I was thinking was, we're at the concert. You're here right now. Are you really going to watch that video when you get home? You are right in front of the artist right now. Why are there phones everywhere? Like, and I'm pretty short, I'm 5'2", and so I'm in this crowd, and there's just these glaring screens surrounding me, and it was hard not to let it distract me. But I thought that night, I'm like, wow, everyone's on their phones all the time.
So you make this film, and it's viewed by 42 million people, and it's not even out there on the internet for a year. It's been less than a year. Yeah. I mean, that's more or about the same size population, I think, of Argentina. I mean, are you just kind of like, I can't believe this? It's
still hard to believe. When it happened, I couldn't believe it. It's still hard to comprehend now.
Well, let's watch a short clip, and then we can talk a little bit more about it.
How long he was driving. I saw him pull out of the parking lot and turn right, and the box was still stuck under his car. So who knows how long he was driving with that box under his car. I bet he got home, he pulled into his driveway.
Cloud in the sky. I'm not. Wow. You're like, it's not. It's not.
I don't think it's real.
Oh,
I don't think it's
maybe
real.
I see the lineup for car. Getting wasted. The Empire State Building is like really close to it, so it's a good.
It's a fun film. Why do you think it resonated?
I think it's relatable on an international level. It's safe to say that most of us have cell phones, and most of us are on them a lot. And I think we've reached a point in human evolution where it's become such a big, important part of our lives. And I think with the timing of putting this out, it just kind of brought that up.
Tara, I haven't forgotten you. I did tweet you a couple of times while you were sitting on. No, I'm just kidding. But you're in kind of the tech industry, and you say that almost all your relationships hinge on social media. Can you explain why?
Well, I think that a lot of the people that are close to me are living in other places in the world, so it's a way for me to easily connect with them. You know, I grew up in Vancouver, BC. I'm still in touch with all of my friends from elementary school. So, you know, things like Facebook and Twitter let me stay connected. I mean, it's kind of amazing to keep strong relationships over, 20 plus years. So, there's that, and then also it's a way for me to establish new relationships. So if I'm interested in something, all I have to do is, tweet a bunch of people that are into the same thing, and all of a sudden I've made a connection there.
Is it an easier way to communicate for you versus the old traditional pick up the phone, do you think, or is it just it's just the method that you've decided is comfortable? I mean, what is it?
Yeah, it's funny. I found this picture of me yesterday. There's Throwback Thursday, and you're looking for older pictures of yourself, and it's me on a phone, and there's a cord and everything. Like, that's so weird, because it was a comfortable way for me to communicate back when I was a teenager, and now it almost scares me. If somebody phones me and I'm like, oh my gosh, who is this person? Like, I don't know. And also, I just feel like I'm always interrupting somebody if I phone them. Whereas if I, text them or email them or tweet them, they can decide when they're ready to respond to me.
So what's interesting about you is your romantic relationship somehow unfolded online. Tell the viewers what happened.
Well, one day I received a tweet from my now husband, Sean, who proposed to me over Twitter. And at first I thought he was joking. I didn't really know what was going on. But, yeah, it turned out to be a legit proposal. I responded, and we were engaged after that.
And there it is, right there.
There it is.
It's there for
forever.
But if I'm not mistaken, some people probably knew before you did, as it's going out there. I mean, it's out there for everybody. Somebody might read the tweet before you do, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think then I wasn't checking Twitter as often as I do now. And, that's fine. It's kind of fun. It got shared around. And I think it was actually one of the first, if not the first, Twitter proposals. So we made it kind of unique and fun.
And it didn't seem unromantic?
No, like, what girl doesn't want a unique proposal, right? I mean, and also it just felt like we could share it really easily with all our friends and family, and it got put on Boing Boing, which is kind of awesome cred for a geek like myself. So yeah, it was awesome.
And did you confront him afterwards and say, were you kneeling when you did it at least?
Well, now I'm like, hey, how do I get the ring?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm tweeting that too. It's a tweeted ring. That's not necessarily as good. Well, let me ask you, there's a film out last year, Her, which I don't know if both of you're nodding your head, so I suspect you saw it. But it was interesting. At first I was like, I'm not going to like this movie. But I thought it was interesting. The guy, for those who haven't seen it, falls in love with his operating system. And you think, God, this is a really weird concept. But then he's like flirting and dealing with his operating system on his smartphone.
The woman that I've been seeing, Samantha, she's an operating system.
You're dating Inois? What is that like?
I feel really close to her. Like, when I talk to her, I feel like she's with me.
I think it's kind of this cautionary tale that we're perhaps even more connected than we've ever been before. I mean, you mentioned that, you've got friends far-flung everywhere, and yet we're more disconnected than ever before. So what is the takeaway from that? And I'll ask you first. I mean, what do you think about that message?
Well, I don't think of us being disconnected. I mean, I guess, when you're looking at a phone and not a person, it might seem that way, but I feel like it's actually, relationships have a deeper connection if you're able to let people know that you're thinking about them on an ongoing basis, right? So I think of my husband. He travels a lot of the year, and the ability for me to be able to just text him, say, hey, I'm thinking about you, or send him a photo of our son is incredible, rather than just kind of waiting for, a phone call, wondering if he's doing okay. So I feel like although maybe it's not face-to-face, because we have things like FaceTime and Skype, that's okay too, as long as you can keep in touch with the people you want to.
But I think in a sense that's what your film's about too, that we're connected but we're disconnected.
Yeah, what caught my attention about being disconnected is it's not so much that we're disconnected from other people. I mean, social media and technology has really helped us be connected with so many people, maybe more people than you would normally, but I feel like we're disconnected from ourselves. I feel like sometimes when I rely on my phone to check on things, to see how many faves I have, to see how many likes on Instagram I have, to get this validation that what I'm saying is worthy of being heard and people like it and people agree, I feel like I'm not taking enough time to practice being just with myself and validating myself with that. And I feel like social media has taken that away that little, that moment, important moment for people to have, you know, while they're waiting for a friend to arrive to brunch or whatever. Just having that moment with yourself, to be okay with just yourself. I feel like we're getting disconnected from that.
Well, you know, it's interesting. You know, you were talking about this concert. I was at a Washington Wizards basketball game, and the guy in front of me was taking pictures of the court, the game's going on, and then he was texting or tweeting, I guess, and then he had to put it on Facebook, and then he put it, I think, on, you know, he's putting it on 4 or 5 different things, and then he's taking the selfie, and then he's doing that, and then he asked me, will you take a picture? Now, of course, I'm kind of you. I should have made this film before you did. And he's driving me nuts because I'm trying to watch the game, but now I'm watching him, and then I had to take a picture of him with his girlfriend, and then he had to go back to all the, and I'm like, is he ever going to watch the game? And I think, you know, it kind of gets to, like you're saying, which is living in the moment. Are we losing that, do you think?
Well, I will give an example. So this morning I did my usual LA River walk, and I'm taking pictures of all the cute little baby birds. And so I took what I thought was a pretty awesome picture of a couple of geese, and I'm on Instagram, and I'm uploading it. And then all of a sudden, one of the geese did this awesome, like, spread his wings. I'm like, oh no, I'm like missing this. So I paused and I said to myself, you know, you really could have waited to upload to Instagram, you know, take your pictures, fine, and then do it later. So I would say that there have been moments where I've definitely missed out. And also, I think there's some research that suggests that you don't remember things as well when you're taking pictures and taking videos of them as you do if you're just, you know, looking at what's happening with your own eyes. So.
You should have, you know, you're still okay because you didn't say, stop, I want to do it over again. I got to get that picture. I got to get it on, got to upload that baby.
I actually thought about it.
Let me also continue with you because you two have something in common in this viral video thing, and yours probably wasn't intended as well. But tell the story about your son and the phone, because and we've actually, why don't we do this?
Okay. Before
you do that, let's take a look at it, and then we can get you to chime in afterwards.
All right.
Let's take a look.
I think it's dead. I think we have to plug it in. Doesn't work. Yeah, the batteries run out. Batteries run out. I know. I know, it's sad. I know, but we'll go plug it in, okay? We'll go plug it in. We'll make it so it works for you.
Now, I would say you're a good parent because working in this profession, you learn that you can't rely on technology. It'll let you have it every time, and you at least taught your son at a very early age. He needs to know this. But you took a fair amount of grief about this, didn't you? Well, first of all, did you think it was going to go viral? No. And then tell us about the firestorm that it kind of created, and then your reaction to it.
No, I mean, I was amused by it, right? Because I thought, well, I can't be the only parent that's faced this, right? And so I just put it up there, you know, just give my family and friends a peek into what happens on, you know, a day with Ripley. And yeah, I didn't realize anybody would watch it. It wasn't my intent. And then all of a sudden the comments started coming in. And of course, I know, never read the comments. It's an internet rule, but I couldn't help myself. And yeah, I mean, there's definitely suggestions that I was a terrible parent, and then I was using the, you know, the device as a babysitter, you know. But it's always that thing where people see a snippet of someone's life, and they don't know anything else that's going on, and they just judge you based on that.
So let me ask, and I'll start with you because your son's growing up in this environment. I mean, this is, You know, I grew up in an entirely different era. I mean, this is a generation that's growing up on smartphones, social media. How do you think it's going to impact relationships or change the way relationships are moving forward, would you say?
Well, I heard some research that the number of people that will get married and have never met is it's going to continue to increase. So sites like Second Life, people are meeting on there and they're actually getting married, like for real getting married, never having met. So I think that
Those are probably the best marriages in some ways.
right?
Just kidding.
So I think that the idea of what a relationship is probably going to change a lot. And maybe people will consider that it's okay to have a long distance relationship and you don't necessarily always have to be in the same place, in the same house all the time. I mean, I certainly had that situation with my husband for quite a long time, and we've been thinking a lot about what that means. So yeah, I think it's kind of all up for grabs.
Up for grabs? Is that how you see it too?
Up for grabs?
Yeah, how do you see the future, I mean, of relationships with smartphones, social media just dominating? I mean, you have your story, I have my story about the Wizards. I mean, how does the future look for an entire generation that's grown up on nothing but this?
It's still weird for me to think about because I'm still not sure how I feel all about it, if it's positive or negative. I know we have a choice to make it positive, so I'm glad like we're doing positive things with it. And it can be a great way to connect with a person and not rely on the physical presence. There are deeper things you can get into when you're not physically present. You can talk about more things that maybe you wouldn't normally face to face, and that's a really cool thing.
Okay, I'm going to fold this right now, and I'm going to read this, but if either one of you pull out the phone and start tweeting somebody, I'm going to go like this. So, thank you both for coming on. Really appreciate it.